hey, I'm here. Might as well keep going, and did what I could do on my own. And a big
Hmm.
part of what got me into the Linux community was, believe it or not, English Bob. And
Hit
Yeah,
start.
there you go.
Start streaming. I got the green light in OBS.
Mm.
now you're here.
Okay. We probably lost like most of the
I
audience.
told him. I told him in the other one that started a new stream.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well,
Or you were gonna.
well that.
Okay. Let me think here.
Okay, so.
Ooh, this subreddit seems to be interesting.
Which
This
one?
subreddit. This subreddit exists to debunk urban legends and share real, verifiable information from the far reaches of the Tor browser and the deep web. Ooh.
Dude, you're gonna run into all kinds of garbage on the deep web. Some's good, some's real, and some's garbage.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
actually, I've actually been on the deep web 2 times now. Didn't go into any of the bad stuff. I was just looking for maybe news articles and stuff.
Oh boy.
Well, all I can say is, have fun. Be careful where you go. And
Mhm.
I've been out there quite a few times. It's just
Mm.
you get into some really weird sites out there.
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah. I've watched a whole bunch of dark web horror story videos.
Oh man.
I hear people talk about these
Okay.
elusive red rooms.
Just whatever you do, do not order a deep web package. Whatever you do.
yeah, no, I've seen some.
No.
I've seen some unboxings, dude. I'd be wearing full protective gear.
Oh shit.
Yeah, seriously, you never know what you're gonna get. I'll be
That's
back in a
scary
second.
to think about, man.
Okay, let's see. Are there subreddits for cooking?
Cooking.
Quails, I'm not sure. OBS crashed on me.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, is the stream back up?
Yeah, I started a new one.
Oh, good,
Oh,
good.
did I tell you, Ricky? My monitor came in. So
Oh, nice.
now I got 3, including the built-in display on the ThinkPad. And it's all thanks to the docking station. With the
Oh, that's nice.
So I have one thing to say. Behold the power of ThinkPads.
That is nice.
Behold the power of ThinkPads.
Okay, there we go. That'll do it.
Yeah, Quails. Maybe it was Arch. I don't know. Was there a recent update on OBS? So if there was, I probably got it.
Let's see. Arch Linux. Search. Oh, wow. For users of the much loved Linux distro Arch Linux. Okay, so there's a subreddit for that. Okay.
So
What about Gentoo?
Gent. Oh,
there's
Ricky,
no-
you got me going on that again.
you can't.
Yep.
No.
There's a subreddit bin exclusively for Gentoo.
Well,
What's it? Let me ask you this: does it have any awesome window manager configs in it?
I can look.
Yes, please. 'Cause I don't want to have to write my own one from gosh darn scratch.
okay, but like
Uh,
the people who run that Gentoo subreddit should only be people who use Gentoo. And since everybody who uses Gentoo are still compiling Gentoo, they shouldn't be able to make a subreddit.
there's not really anything on configs bin, but there's a lot of questions like this one, for example. It's a question about can't compile Python 3.6.8. It takes forever. It's been over 4 hours and it's still compiling. It always gets stuck on. And then there's the error message right here, and it just goes on and on about it. Let's see.
Oh, really? Do
That's not surprising.
the other stream, Quails? How could the other stream still be up?
That's weird.
Okay, let me just go back to the home area.
I wonder if there's a,
Hmm.
you know,
Uh-oh, you're working again on YouTube. I just got back.
Oh, okay.
Your stream
Ooh, there's
looks
a
like it's dying.
nice. There's a subreddit for both Ubuntu and Linux Mint. That's nice.
that's good.
Dude, there's Reddits for almost everything you can think of. Unless they,
Yeah, but those
Yeah.
those distros are so stable. Those subreddits are probably boring as hell. So
well, see, that's part of what got me bent with Mint. Because it's like, okay, where's all the good stuff in the repos? It's all junk.
yeah, that's what pushed me for Mint too. Was it worked for what it did, but it didn't do much. And, like, it just wasn't for me because everything in the repos were either outdated, very poorly maintained, or. And it's like, I get it. You're trying to be stable.
Whoa, something's going on here.
Hmm?
Oh, it's just, okay, now I'm caught up with the video part. For some reason, it paused on my end. I was away from the keyboard, too.
Oh. It could be that I'm pushing a lot through OBS. It could be that OBS just decided it was gonna.
Dump it all at once.
Yeah.
Put it
Yep.
on. Yeah.
I mean, I don't usually do all this through OBS. Let me check my CPU usage. Whoops.
No, because I went over and looked at my YouTube, and the stream was like halfway through. I was like, wait a second, I never paused it. So I went and sped it up.
I'm only using 4 out of my 32 gigs of RAM, and I have 8 threads, and each one's only using about half of it. So
What kind of processor you got?
i7.
Okay.
You see, it's more specifically as an CPU Intel i7 37.
I'm just so amazed with the architecture of the new processors nowadays, because I started back in the days when a Math Pro processor was an extra charge. You ever heard of a game called Transportation Tycoon?
I've heard of Roller Coaster Tycoon. That game is fun.
Yeah, OpenTTD is one of the ones I like. Transportation Tycoon Deluxe. But
I like Roller Coaster Tycoon, Benjamin. I used to play it like years ago.
It was fun. I mean, you could build like half of a roller coaster and people would actually get on it and ride to their deaths. It was just like, what kind of game is this for children?
I actually have the original. I have the old original one, and I have a good old games version of the Transportation Tycoon. I mean, not Roller Coaster Tycoon Deluxe, Platinum, whatever it is,
Yeah.
with the 3 different theme parks.
Well, hey,
Oh, yeah.
You gotta complete all the stuff.
Yeah, Quails is asking what distros you guys are running.
I'm on, I'm going to say it, Windows right now, because I just, I'm playing games and I don't have any of them on my Arch boot right now.
I'm using good old Peppermint 10.
Right.
Salient Arch.
I might have to update my Hackman release.
See, you guys come up at such a cool age, because, I mean, I've just seen so much stuff change in computing over the years.
Yeah.
And I'm not a computer geek, I'm a trucker, but it's just, I've seen it change.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends, literally 10 years younger than me, ended up working for Sony Corporation, developing a lot of those MMORPGs, working down out of San Diego and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I mean,
And they're even, and they're like in their mid 40s now, and they're looking at stuff going, man, we're getting undercut by the East Indian guys over here on work permits. I mean, they were making triple figure income or 6-figure incomes, and now these East Indians are coming over and they're doing this stuff for $70,000-$80,000 a year, which is like $150,000 a year or more.
Well, but what's funny though is that maybe not funny, but like kind of a weird thing is like you're moving towards the GUIs. You started out with the command line, you're moving towards the GUIs, and as far as I go, like I've been moving more towards the command line.
Well, right, but you also had computers when you were in school, didn't you?
Yeah.
Didn't know such thing when I was a kid.
The first computer that I ever got to use was when I was 3 years old. It was an Apple Macintosh, the old school Macintosh. And here's the funny part. The computer was having problems and the teachers didn't know what to do, so they left me alone with the computer for just a few seconds, thinking I wouldn't touch it. And hold on just a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm probably gonna redo my. I'm probably gonna update. I should say my Pac-Man distro.
They actually had some when I was in this was in the 70s when I was in grade school. They had these really simple computers. It was basically SRAs is what they were called, but it was a tape drive thing. And they ask you a few questions, and you'd have to manually pause it, answer the questions, and then start the tape up again.
Okay, as I was saying, I apologize for that. As I was saying, the teachers left me alone with the Macintosh for just a few minutes, thinking that I wouldn't do anything. They come back a few minutes later, and to their shocking surprise, the computer was completely fixed. And they were wondering, how in the world did this happen? They looked at me and they said, "Did you do something about?"
How old were you?
And I was 3 years old.
Yeah, right. I think you got lucky, is what I think you did.
I don't know.
Especially at that age.
Well, the thing is, when you put a computer in front of a 3-year-old with autism, things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, don't put it past the youngsters. I mean, my son's already 1 year old. He's already learning how to. He knows, touch the phone. He knows he could video chat with them. He looks to see his grandma come on the video chats and stuff. I mean, he knows.
Don't take this the wrong way, Ben, but Mr. Eldridge, I've seen videos on YouTube of chimpanzees scrolling through an iPhone of pictures of other chimpanzees and picking ones that they liked. It's sort of like a Tinder, but not really, Tinder for chimpanzees.
What would Tinder for chimpanzees be called?
I just seriously, I've seen the videos. It's like, what? Okay, yeah. And they literally picked the monkey they wanted to look at and expanded it out and made it full screen the whole 9 yards, just like a human. So, don't think. I mean, give him a couple more years to find out if he's a genius or not. But since it's so prevalent in society nowadays, he probably will be.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's alone in that. I think that a lot of the younger kids, they're just always around it.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, closest thing we had to a computer back when I was a kid in the 70s and back in the early days in the 80s was a VCR.
Yeah.
Or an Atari.
Yeah, my
Atari console.
VCR still blinks midnight, 12 midnight. I don't think anybody ever figured out how to change the time on a VCR.
Well, I just hate resetting it every time the power goes out. It's a pain in the butt.
Whenever the power goes out, I have to pretty much reset the clock on my CRT TV over on the other side of the room that has a built-in VCR in it.
Oh wow, that's a collector's item, dude.
And right beside it is one of two PS3s that I got. One PS3 is for my normal gaming purposes. The other, I pretty much put a custom firmware on it. Then right beside that is an Atari 7800.
Dude, I had a friend of mine when I went down to New Orleans to work. It was literally a friend. He was originally from up here, but he'd been down in New Orleans, and his whole bottom side of his house got like 4.5 feet, 5 feet of water in it, and he lost all his old collectible stuff.
Oh my
Some of this,
god!
some of the stuff you're talking about, dude, you need to just sit on it for another 20 years, and either donate it to a museum or sell it to a collector. But clean them up first.
Oh, I keep my all my video consoles well cleaned.
There's this guy I'm subscribed to. He's called Mods Tech, and he
Mhm.
does a bunch of old refurbs and stuff, of old stuff.
Oh, you know who does a lot of that? There's this YouTube channel called the 8-Bit Guy that I watch.
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
I've seen.
Oh
him.
yeah, I watch him. I watch Lazy Gamer reviews.
Actually, that's what my first computer. I think, IBM PC Junior was an 8-bit computer.
Mm-hmm.
32. It came with 16 kilobytes of RAM and cost like $300 to upgrade to 32 kilobytes of RAM.
Out of all the computers that I've owned over the years, an IBM computer is one of the computers I never even got to try.
I don't know if this one counts. It's a Lenovo ThinkPad.
Well, I hate to say it, but ever since IBM stopped making their own, it sort of Lenovo's did some funky stuff over the years, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just. I mean, I actually, if it would have been worth keeping, I had an old T50, and it was nice. The graphics weren't the greatest, but it ran Antix very well.
I mean, I looked at the older ThinkPads, and I like I like the older keyboards better.
They're
But-
solid. They're built like bricks, man.
But unfortunately, none of them were really powerful enough for what I wanted to do. So I went with the W530, which was upgradable to 32 gigs of RAM, which I did. I had the docking station. I'm able to do a lot with this machine.
Well, yeah, it was all set. I mean, even the original ThinkPads, before Lenovo got into it, or they subcontracted to the Lenovo. But yeah, those old ThinkPads were freaking. They were bricks, and you could take out the CD and put a secondary hard drive in it if you wanted. All kinds of stuff. And this is back in the old days, you know.
Oh, I did that with this one. I pulled out the DVD drive because,
Yeah.
when was the last time I had to use a DVD? And I put the drive caddy in. This one has the operating system, which is Arch, sits on a 240 gig SSD, and I have my home folder mounted directly to a 1 terabyte regular hard drive.
Yeah. I've just been looking at the choice of laptop. I was on desktops for the longest time, and maybe like 8-10 years ago, I decided to move to laptops because I figured they were getting almost as good as desktops. I like the mobility, and I just basically I shopped around. I got this. It's a polished stainless body. It's not. It can take a bump. Well, not like a lot of the stuff you see in the stores these days. I was at the local Micro Center, and the guy's trying to sell me a laptop. I said, "Why I want to buy one of these?" He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "It's got Windows 10 on it. It's garbage." He said, "Yeah, but you could always put." I said, "Why should I pay for a Windows 10 license when I'm going to wipe it as soon as I get home?" And plus, I went up and started twisting on the the monitor, and it was so flexible. It's like, dude, I could like bump this and it'd break. That's what I don't like about a lot of this new stuff. Garbage. It was meant to be thrown away.
Oh wow, this is awesome. The New York City subway, the operating system that the subway operates on,
DOS.
OS2.
Okay, yeah, that's from back in the DOS. Or that's from the 80s, dude.
Yeah.
or 90s, early
In
90s.
fact, a company a few years ago made a modern version of OS2 called Arca OS.
Uh-huh. But no, I mean, all through the 80s and 90s, a lot of people don't realize it, but 90% of your gas stations were running DOS for their gas pump software.
What
Uh-oh.
these days? What what operating system do gas pumps run now?
I have no idea. But this is during the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. From what I understand nowadays, the International Space Station actually runs Debian.
Yeah,
I read up, I was reading on this story off and on over the years, and you know what caused them to change to Linux?
Hmm.
And it's not, he didn't do it on purpose, but one of the Russian cosmonauts brought his Windows laptop on board and infected the system, the Windows system on the space station.
Wow.
He had some malware on his laptop. It wasn't on purpose, it was an accident, so
Oopsie.
yeah. That's sort of what made him decide to change to Linux.
Sure, it was accident, comrade.
No, I'm pretty sure it was a. I'm sure they got to go through all kinds of security shit to even get on a ship
So
to go to the space station.
Well, the thing is, leave it to Windows to get a virus within a few nanoseconds.
Well, it was on his laptop before he brought it on, so you know.
Mm.
And EB, and I love EB to death. I mean, he's part of what got me into Linux. But he's sitting there talking all about this Astra Linux and stuff. I'm sitting there going, now who's to say the Russian government doesn't have backdoors built in every little piece of that kernel?
it looks like we froze for a second here. Don't worry, the call's not gonna drop. I'm just gonna remove it and re-enter it.
It just showed over here that you died.
Now, started it back.
Now
up
I'm halfway
again.
across the country from you, so
Oh,
and he's down in Florida somewhere.
well. Anyway.
Oh no, the stream's back up now on YouTube. Oh well.
Yep.
Yeah, I restarted OBS.
Oh, okay, no, I was just okay.
Yeah. By the way, Ricky, this is the tool I was telling you about. For Reddit, it's called it is a terminal. It's a terminal based It's called RTV.
RTV.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All I was gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What?
All I was gonna say is, this is an old computer I was playing this game on, and basically, I was humming right along, and next thing I know, I was like getting ready to build some stuff, and it says you have no money. I looked down, and my money went from positive basically it hit $320 million and reverted back to negative
Yeah.
$320 million. I was like, oh, the
Yeah. Good night, Quails.
take care, Collis.
Is that how
But,
it's pronounced, Qualis or Quails? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I've heard it both ways, so
Is he stateside or is he European?
I think he's European. He says it's late for him there.
Oh yeah,
It's only 10. It's almost 11 here for me.
9:40 here.
I have this idea that if I could just like keep moving through time zones, it'll never be time for me to punch into work again.
Ooh, nice. I found another subreddit. This one is a cool one. It's one for DOS.
Well, you know, it's an interesting fact is George R. R. Martin, the guy who writes A Song of Ice and Fire that's like became Game of Thrones. He says he does his writing on a DOS machine,
Mm-hmm.
That is cool.
which
Oh wow. A
There's-
Win- A Windows 98 tower that costs $3,499.
That's too much. I mean, it better be in immaculate condition.
hmm Windows 98, I would say, when it comes to old school gaming, is the best operating system for old school gaming.
98 SE.
Second edition.
SE specifically because basically they worked on all the bugs in 95 and 98, and it was actual pretty decent working system. OS. I back in those days, I didn't upgrade to 98 until about a year before it came out. I stayed on DOS.
Wow, somebody found a nice copy of Norton Commander 5.
Wow.
That was the thing back in the day, dude.
Yeah, it used to be the number one antivirus.
No, this Norton had nothing to do with virus. It was basically a GUI interface for your DOS system. It was
Oh,
before. I mean, they were probably doing antivirus, but this is back. Norton Commander was a GUI for a DOS system, basically.
yeah.
Sort of like Midnight Commander in a way.
hmm
Anyway, so let's say you want to get onto Reddit from the terminal.
Uh-oh.
You have this application called RTV. And as you can tell, I already punched it into the terminal, launched the program. And you can see that there's a list of subjects here. Looks like there's an issue here. So you just hit enter on it. And you could go through the whole subreddit.
Would that be on mine? RTV is the name of the program?
Yeah. And if you want to go back, you just hit arrow.
Yeah. File not command not found.
Might have to install it. Anyway,
Yeah, no, I get it.
like if you look here, see it says PNG, so that means it's a picture, right?
Yeah.
Opens it in FEE.
What's FEE?
FEI is just like an image viewer for Linux.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it handled the image just fine.
See, that's okay. File. Okay, I got flag 127. How do I back to a basic? I want to put in CD /.
Oops. So you
No,
got-
that's what I want to do, but I don't.
You gotta remember that
I know
See,
it's this / and
it's
back.
a forward slash because Linux is thinking forward.
I know the difference. It's
Mi-
just that's what my first thing is. I want to do that, but I know it ain't gonna work.
And Windows is a / because they're thinking backwards.
Yeah, I've heard the story, dude.
It's a true story.
I know. Actually, back in the day, dude, some of these guys a decade younger than me, back in the late or early '90s, before Windows took over everything, they were playing with Linux. So I've been aware of Linux since
Yeah.
92, 93. It's just I stayed with my DOS and Windows, and they went on and did their computer stuff. I was a construction guy and heavy equipment operator and trucker, so yeah.
But the thing about Linux in that time period, it didn't get good until Red Hat came along.
Right, I understand that. That's why, I mean, these are the same guys who are working with OS2. And the thing about OS2 back in those days, it was actually doing multiple processes at once as opposed to time slicing like Windows does.
hmm
And what it was doing was tearing up processors because the processors couldn't handle it back in the day.
Oh,
It was
wow.
burning them up basically because there's
Hmm.
too much going on.
So essentially, it was too powerful.
No, it was just. It was meant probably meant for big business as opposed to normal people that are home users, end users, or people that could afford high end processors of the time. I mean, this is old school 32-bit stuff, and some of it even 16-bit. But yeah, it's just stuff has changed so much in processors over the years. I've seen it all. I mean, I'm sitting there looking. Everybody's back when I was young. It was all the big thing was, ooh, get your old used Get you an old used um oh what are those workstations? Oh fuck. Can't even remember the name of the company, but they do basically they were the early supercomputer guys. And nowadays you need to start looking into D-Wave, which is the new supercomputers. They're nitrogen cooled and everything,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
which is the new. So they call it computing at on a quantum level.
Mhm.
Okay, whatever that is.
Hmm.
Well, I'll be darned. I actually found it on eBay. I can't believe I'm about to say these words, but for under $300, I just managed to locate on eBay a Tandy 1000.
Wow.
Better have detailed pictures of it.
It has pictures, and it looks really good.
Yeah. Dude, I really wouldn't worry about that stuff unless you're a collector. Because what are you going to run on it?
True, very true.
You could,
Unless you got a really big archive of old software.
I mean, that's the thing. A lot of this stuff is really just for like collectors. Like if you like want it for nostalgic purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Atari 7800 I have, when I first got it, it would look like it was very well taken care of. I have a few games for it, too.
Do you have to blow? You have to blow on the little thing to get them to work. Sometimes when they're not clean.
Nope,
Hmm.
the inside of the cartridges are actually really clean.
I was being a smart ass, dude.
I know.
Yeah. I remember having to do that with the Nintendo systems.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Well, the thing about the Nintendo is, yes, you had to blow on the cartridges, but there's an easy trick to avoid that. I think there's like this special cleaner you can get that cleans the contact inside the cartridge.
I think it was the moisture from your breath that made a better connection. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
The one thing though that I didn't like about the original NES is over time, the more you use the NES, the faster the 72-pin connector would wear out.
Hmm.
Luckily, these days you can buy a brand new one, and there's easy tutorials to open
Yeah,
the
but
thing
it's
up
all isn't that all cloud based now? You don't own your own software. All you do is got a little box that pulls stuff out of the cloud. If they want to cut you off, they cut you off.
Yeah, it was just Stadia, right? Stadia, the Google
Stadia.
service. Yeah, I don't know if I like that whole idea.
Dude, that's the way it's headed, though, man.
If I want to do any classic gaming, I'll just use RetroArch.
'Cause you gotta think though, like you're dependent on the cloud. Excuse me. You're dependent on the cloud. So like, how long will it take for like the button you press for it to register on the cloud and come back to your?
It all depends on your bandwidth at your local ISP, dude. That's really all it does.
It should
Because it's
go-
supposed. Heard of tests being run on this stuff, and you basically have to have a really nice connection to get it to run right. Because supposedly, if the connection's good and everything, the latency is really low. But if you're on regular, I mean, you might as well have a T1 line if you're going to be serious about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Sega 32X.
Sorry, what?
I just located a Sega 32X.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, $59.99.
Not bad, man.
Uh-huh. I have a Sega Genesis right over there in the cabinet there.
I learned. I love Sonic, man.
Oh man, Sonic was love, Sonic was life.
Now, I was in the middle of a
Horribly, I
trucking
never got
career.
to play it.
I was in the middle of a trucking career, but I played it with the kids.
Hmm.
My girlfriend's kids.
Oy.
Okay, let's see what else I can locate.
So this seems to be working okay through the OBS then, huh?
It does, aside for like the couple crashes I suffered from it. I'm not sure what caused those.
Arch.
Yeah, I'll just blame
I'm
Arch.
giving you a hard time, man.
No, I know. It could very well have been, but I checked the actual package.
And it
Last-
had all the dependencies and everything.
Yeah, no, the last update it
See-
received was June 22nd, so
See, for me, it wasn't really that hard to move over because I had been through the dependencies things, running old DOS and everything.
Hmm.
But for a normal Windows user who doesn't know squat about computing, especially any kind of computing, it's like, well, dependencies. Wait, dev file. What is this? And I had a little knowledge about this stuff, but the transition was sort of smooth. But if they go and grab something, I mean, when I first got Zoom, I was invited onto Big Daddy Linux Live one time, and I was like, nah, rock on. I'm not going to do it. I like to, but I'm not. And the Mint, one of the dependencies was missing from the file they sent you from Zoom. Or it had two dependencies that weren't with the package for Mint. One of them was in the repositories, the other one wasn't. And then I waited a couple weeks, decided to do it anyway, just to install it anyway. And I guess it was a backport or something. I'm not sure what it was, but it went out and found the second dependency that it needed.
it's very rare that I run into a dependency issue on Arch.
Well, no, this was Mint, so it's a different story.
Debian is a different story. On OpenSUSE, oh my god, the last time I ran OpenSUSE, dependencies were a nightmare. That's what made me go to Arch.
That's part of the reason why I'm on Arch now, because I mean, most everything I want and a lot of stuff that I don't even know how it works is in there, or what it is.
Actually, the only package that gave me dependency issues was the Jitsi desktop client. It wanted an older version of Java,
Mm.
and it wouldn't pull it in itself. So, and then I installed all the dependency, the older Java, and then the Jitsi client just didn't want to work anyway. So it's like, okay, well, boom, got rid of it again. Why did I bother?
See, I was sort of giving Steve a little grief about that earlier tonight, as like about the whole Jitsi thing. I mean, I haven't really looked at it yet, but isn't there a way I can get on here and boot you off your own? I could boot anybody off here, can I?
Yeah, I think so.
See, that's one thing. I'm not going to do it, but it's just
Ooh.
I mean, you could. I just close it out and start a new one.
no, that's cool. But no, actually, Ghosty had gone on the stream and booted Bob out of his own stream,
Yeah.
and then walked away, laughing.
I mean, I guess you just have to watch out for that, because I shared a link in the chat, and so like really any of the trolls that I get hit could probably join and just like boot us all off and like wreak total havoc on our stream. But
Well, no, 20 years ago, that was totally me, dude. But not nowadays. I've calmed down a lot. I was sit there laughing at you while I kicked you off your own stream.
imagine.
I was a little shit disturbed. Excuse my language. I was a problem maker back in the day.
Oh, back when a couple years back, if anybody caught like all the stuff I had on my laptop on this MacBook Pro that I had,
Oh,
oh my god, I had
pirated.
I had at least $5,000 worth of pirated software on there.
Yeah, no, I got
hey.
Well, most of it was the Adobe suite, so
I have Adobe myself. CSS and everything. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Gnostic, you were a bad boy.
Well, see, there's these old hacker groups. I wasn't really a hacker. I hacked a little bit. If you ever heard of Cult of the Dead Cow,
I've
I
never
was
heard of them.
Yeah.
Razor 411, the original Razor 411, the one they mentioned in Hackers, the movie. I was affiliated with it. I was more of a distributor back in the BBS days. So yeah, that's where I come from. And the games were so much easier to hack back then.
Ooh, that is a cheap computer tower.
Yeah.
HP Compact 6200 Pro SFF desktop computer, 4 gigs of RAM, 80 gigabyte hard drive, and it has Linux on it.
Some of those what compact Presarios you said?
It's an HP Compact 6200
Yeah,
Pro
some of those
SFF.
Presarios were good.
It doesn't specify what the Linux is, though.
Linux is a kernel, Ricky.
And the thing about it is, a lot of those older ones run Linux a lot better than some of this newer stuff.
Yeah.
The ones I've really read up on is the XPS series from Dell. It's pretty good too.
Okay, yes, it does. It does specify what operating system it is. It's Linux Mint 19.1.
Yeah, it's either Ubuntu. Most of them are Ubuntu. See, this is the thing. I've gone to the Pop! OS site a few times, and I look at their laptop prices and stuff. And the thing is, when you go to configure your computer on it, it doesn't tell you what kind of hardware you're getting. And so I did a little cross-referencing. I said, they're charging like $300 for a terabyte HDD hard disk drive. They're charging $300. I could go over here to Micro Center and get the same thing for like $80 or $100. And I'm like, what the hell? You're charging me an overpriced whatever. They get corporate rates. It's not consumer end rates, so they get cheaper than what we pay. And I'm sitting there looking at these prices. This stuff ain't. And plus, they don't tell you what brand of hardware you're getting when you configure your computer. That's another issue I have with their site. They could put junk in there. I mean, their big thing is, and this is, I have the whole bells and whistles when it comes to Intel Management Engine. The Intel Management Engine is basically a backdoor for Intel to get into your system, and this has all the bells and whistles on it, and because it's a corporate refurb. So
what you're saying is Intel has a backdoor?
Read up on the Intel Management Engine. Learn stuff, dude. Seriously. But anything with the Intel Management Engine, which is basically everything since '92, I think, you'd have to be a very skilled hacker to do it. You could do it. Actually, what I've read about this from some really good hackers and people that know architecture, you can literally, the only way to keep them from getting in this computer, or a good hacker could literally power it up and get you through the Wi-Fi. If they really know what they're doing, they could power it up via the Wi-Fi while it's shut down. The only way to keep them from doing it is pull the battery.
That's insane.
Well, but these are elite hackers, so. But I mean, on a wired connection, it's a lot easier to do.
I mean, the thing is, there's so many hacker groups today. I mean, it's not even funny. I mean, any type of hacker can just hack a system, no minimal issues.
I have a few hacker friends still, so. But yeah, it's just no. These were specifically set up so whatever company is working for, when you were sitting at a hotel out on the road, they could literally power up your machine, whether you was on connected via hard line or not. They could power up your machine and do their system updates remotely.
Good God.
That's what they were set up for. Especially what I got, the Elite book. It's a corporate refurb. It was whatever. They used it for like 5 years and then upgraded. Threw an SSD in them.
Yeah, so check out what happens if I try to share the screen. Yeah.
Okay. So is that all three of your monitors?
Yeah. Chromium and Chrome will not let me pick just one. Okay. Firefox would, but Chromium won't. That's through Jitsi. I could share the screens through OBS, but
see, I don't know anything about OBS, so that's the whole
Yeah.
different story for me. I'm sure I could learn a little.
Mhm.
My whole thing about the dark web, though, Ricky, is basically it's all run off peer-to-peer networking.
Mhm.
The only thing I would say is be careful who your peers are.
Mhm. The only way I get into the dark web is I use the Tor browser. That's the only way I'll ever access it.
Okay.
Hmm.
And besides, I mean, I have the Tor browser's protection set to max, so I should be minimally safe for the most part.
Yeah.
That's how I
What?
got on it once too. Once, like one time, I got on there and I saw like hitmen for hire and like these links to like sex trafficking things. I was like, I don't want to be
Sounds
here.
like the Silk Road to me, or something
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
I mean, if you don't believe those things are real, and yeah, take a look at the dark web and get a little
Actually,
reality check. So I mean,
it really depends on how you approach it. Everybody says, "Ooh, the dark web, it's ominous place." It's like it's only ominous if you're looking for it.
yeah.
You know, it's
thing-
it's what they call the uncataloged web is actually what
Exactly. One, the thing is, the government and the media have made us think that the dark web is completely
Dude,
scary.
it is.
When,
Dude, Facebook has a dark web site.
mm-hmm.
The real Facebook has it.
Yep.
So I mean, it's going to eventually. 50 years from now, it'll be just as commercial as the cataloged web.
I mean, the reason why the dark web exists in the first place is it is the ultimate tool to protect privacy and security. That's why we have it.
I mean, that's
Well-
the thing. A lot of people use it for like the right reasons. Just like, well, I want to be left alone, or like
Well-
there are people that need to be hidden. Like their
Well,
life
no,
depends
a
on
lot of friggin' journalists use it
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
specifically for that reason because they want to remain and whatever they could be reporting on something that could get them killed wherever they're at.
like let's say for example, we'll put our opinions of the guy to the side. Let's say Edward Snowden.
But he
Right.
used it, I'm sure.
Like his life literally depends on him staying anonymous on the internet.
Yeah, that's damn near impossible. And I mean, he's a genius though. So,
Yeah, I'm
Mm.
sure.
and a lot of I hate saying it, but I consider him a patriot. A lot of people are
Me too.
trashing him. I'm like, dude. Actually, so a lot of the stuff he was talking about and what he released had been out on the web like a decade earlier, and 5 or 10 years earlier, and it's like common knowledge. But a lot of that stuff, what people aren't realizing is they're policing the web, and anything they don't like, sometimes they just boom, the page is gone.
Yeah, that's
It'll
one of the
disappear.
Things. It's like, it's like I'm when it comes to political stuff, I'm pretty right leaning, but there's things I don't like about the right. Like it's like they'll complain about the government's power when the Democrats are in power. But then
Dude, I hate to tell you this, but the truth of the matter is, government is nothing but a farce. They're just as I've had more threats from police officers than I have from common citizens. Okay, so I mean,
Yeah.
St. Louis is. I mean, I know wherever you are. I know Boston's pretty rough, but wherever you're at, it's probably not that bad. But it's just, I'm more afraid of the police than I am from a gangster. Believe it or not. At least with a gangster, you know who you're dealing with.
yeah. Well, I think one of the problems is a lot of the cops are just like they don't know the Constitution like they used to, and they're just a lot of them are just like bullies on a power trip. I think.
I actually had an old high school mate go to be a cop, and he literally got busted for a bunch of stuff he pulled over the years.
Hmm.
Literally, like 30 miles from where I live now. It's just different county.
I mean, it's like I look at it this way. It's like when Julian Assange was exposing like stuff that Bush was doing. It was like, oh, the guy's a criminal. Lock him up. Then he started up exposing stuff Obama was doing, and it was like, he's a hero. He's a hero. I'm like, wait a minute.
They go whichever the way the wind blows to get public opinion on their side. Problem is, people don't realize that if we just said no, screw you, we don't believe in you. Actually, we want you out of office. We could literally, and it used to happen. I mean, you could go storm the White House and take him out on the front lawn and shoot him, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean,
But I'm not saying Trump, but somebody that does really bad stuff.
I mean, we'll just storm Area 51 like they're saying on Facebook we should do, right?
Dude, there's I've been hearing some of my independent media guys say that's actually supposed to happen. I think September 30th sometime. I think it is.
Well, I'm not retarded or suicidal, so I won't be joining them. But
Well, no, it's got them scared. It's got the government scared because a lot of freaking stuff's probably going to come to light. Like we've been involved with the aliens since when? Since since what's his name? I heard it was what's his name here? Truman.
Hmm.
That's the story.
yeah,
There was some kind of pact signed back then.
well, I don't.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that's
No,
the
that's
story.
just one of the. Well, if you believe like the History Channel, we've been in contact with aliens since ancient times. The Egyptians and the Maya.
Well, actually, the honest God truth, I wouldn't doubt if we were friggin' genetically altered species of some kind.
Could
And
be.
we're not, and this is not the only planet we're on, our species.
I mean, anything's possible.
I mean, I'm pretty much a Christian, so like like
Who's to
I
say
believe-
God wasn't an alien?
Well,
Hey,
like,
who could? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What if I were to tell you that life on other planets is not? It doesn't go against the Bible.
It doesn't. No.
No, because you have a verse in Revelation 12:12. It said a lot of people miss it because they just focus on the second part of this verse, but the first part it says, "Rejoice ye heavens," right? Rejoice ye heavens, plural heavens,
Yeah, more than one.
not just one, and
Yeah.
ye that dwell in them.
Right. Well, I mean, what was the name of that old movie? Oh man, it's got the old clay animation in it and stuff, and they got the gods sitting there looking on the water, watching what everybody's doing. They go after the golden fleece and all that. It's an old one from the 60s or 70s, but it's got all the Roman gods up there. So they're saying this is what they should do, and this is trying to control everything from up in the heavens or wherever. But yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
This went
it-
into the weeds fast.
I'll say this. If I ever do meet an actual alien one day, I'm going to sit down with him and we're both going to have a beer.
The truth is, they probably would. I mean, in my belief, they're already among us. I wouldn't doubt it at all.
I've met some people. Like I work at this grocery store called Price Right, and I've met some people who I swear they're just like aliens in a bad costume. It's like their first day on Earth. It's like
I mean, like, are they just dense, or are they? I mean, what's wrong with them?
I think too much welfare, too little work.
Oh yeah, see, that's the thing. I've had welfare, or not welfare. I had food stamps a couple times back when they actually issued the paper ones, but it like took 5 or 6 years for people to talk me into getting it because I had too much pride. But it's just once you really see how the system's set up, it's set up to make you dependent on the government, and it's like
Yeah.
we don't need that.
No, but that's what the other side does. The Democrats,
The government, dude. I hate saying it. Democrat or Republican, they're both bad. The whole coin. It's not. Both sides of the coin are bad. It's a bad coin. And democracy, whatever they're calling democracy nowadays, is not democracy. I mean, because if you go by ancient Greek democracy, some of the elections were actually held by straw poll. Literally, they draw straws. or draw sticks,
Well,
whatever.
I mean, our founders were very much anti-democracy, and they made it very clear that we're a republic, not
Yeah,
a
I know.
democracy.
Exactly.
And the big difference is that in a democracy is mob rule. It's like 51% can vote to take every single right away from 49%, and that's just
Exactly.
not cool. So like they just said, okay, there's like elements of a democracy in our country. Like
Right.
we vote for the president, we vote for our
But
elected
even
officials.
that is askew with the college.
But like,
Go ahead.
let's say you got 100 people in a room, and you're the
No, you
only,
need 101
and
to make it off.
and like let's say you're the only one that disagrees with the rest of the room. Well,
Right.
even the rest of the 99 can't vote your right to that opinion away. They can't vote your right to free speech away. Basically, the idea behind a republic is there's certain things that aren't up for the vote, right? Like you
Uh-huh.
can't vote to take someone's right to free speech away.
That's not a democracy. Right. No, I hear you.
No, that's a republic.
Right.
Uh-oh.
What's up,
Uh-oh.
kid? Wake up.
No. Oh, yeah, another one. It's the middle child.
Oh. We have 3 cats. One's really old blue Persian.
He's not happy with me now.
One's a really old blue Persian, and another one's a calico, and which is a rescue.
Uh-huh.
We basically got the kittens, and and kept one for ourselves, the smartest one, and then another one. We live in a neighborhood where people have a tendency to dump black cats,
Uh-huh.
and well, you know, the stigma. But anyway, and we got another one who used to climb into the back door to raid our indoor cats food bowl. So eventually, we just invited him in and got him fixed and everything. So yeah, he's the only indoor-outdoor cat. The other 2 are house cats. Matter of fact, the calico rescue, wandered off once about 2 or 3 years into her stay here and got lost. Was so happy to get back home because she was starving. She didn't know the outside cat rules.
Yeah, cats are funny.
I actually, for a companion, I'd like a cat, or I'd like a dog. Or no, I like cats as a companion and a dog for a guardian. Cats
Yeah.
choose you, you don't choose them.
That's true.
If they don't like you, they'll leave. I've seen it happen too many times to too many people.
By the way, you guys, I found a Linux from Scratch image for the Raspberry Pi.
Wow.
Wow.
See, you guys mess with that cutting edge stuff. I'll stick with my Arch back here and treat it with kid gloves. I'm just learning.
Yeah.
And plus, like I said, you guys came up with computers in school, so it's a whole different story for you.
I mean, Arch cured my distro hopitis. Yeah, I stopped hopping on Arch. And before that, I was hopping. Like, I mean hopping. Like, I would go from Ubuntu to Fedora, and I would just, like, switch, like all the computers I got. Be like, okay, well, we gotta go to Fedora now. We gotta go to OpenSUSE now. And then I would break it. Be like, okay, we gotta switch over to this one.
See, that's the whole thing with this laptop here. Everything inside, just since the corporate model is a corporate type thing, everything's accessible on the inside, real easy. If I want to change OSs, I just change hard drives.
Nice. Well, I'm thinking of trying Salient again.
What? See, you're gonna be back on something else a week or two later, dude. That's your
I don't know
MO,
why.
man.
I don't know why.
I watched you enough to. I remember when you were fed up with Linux, so don't tell me.
Well, but
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
well, but you know,
It's okay.
Arch is my baby. It's my system. It's the same install that's been running since January, since I installed it. It took me about a week to figure out how to get the NVIDIA Optimus working on it. But once I got that up and running, matter of fact, I can go back in the logs and find out it was January 4th. That was when I finally, cat fur. That was when I finally got it working. And it went through, I think it was 46 kernel updates since. It started off at 4.20, now it's at 47 now, because it's 5.2.1 now. And it's still kicking.
What is that command you put in your terminal to find out what OS you're running and all that? Always, it tells me right here. Let me see.
Uname dash
host
A.
name kernel 521 arch
Oh, you mean
arch 1-1 arch. That's what kernel I'm on. 521 arch.
actually I have yeah, you type in, I think it's uname dash
Dash
R.
A.
Right?
Dash R is for kernel. Uname dash A is for everything.
Oh yeah, that gives me the host name too.
Yeah.
Let me see what I got up here as an i3 block. It actually tells me what kernel I'm running right now. And that's the only time I run a reboot, is if I see a kernel update coming through the pipeline. I'll reboot it to make sure nothing's borked. And I'll also run a reboot maybe if I see an NVIDIA update through, just to make sure my video's still working.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, this is a laptop too, so like I'll probably shut it down before I bring it with me, and I'll turn it back on wherever I am. So
Yeah. This gets shut down every night too. Of course, I'm one of those lunatics. I was busy between like 11:30 and 2:30 in the morning. I sat there, and it literally tracks right across the sky through my window. I was up watching it last night. I didn't go to sleep till like 4 o'clock this morning, or whatever.
oh, I tell you what, you want to see a cool astronomy app? Is Stellarium.
Yeah, no, I've seen that before. I've seen that around before. Stellarium.
Oh, it's at 19.0 now. That's the news at 18. Oh, yeah, Saturn and Jupiter are out for me. So you set the location down here, and
Put in your GPS location.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen this. I've messed with this a little bit before. I can't see anything tonight. It's all clouded. It was raining all day here.
Yeah, for me too. I also got the app on my phone that when you point it at whatever, it tells you what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, from what I understand, if you get the right kind of telescope, this app will actually...
My stepdad has that.
Oh yeah?
He amateur stargazer. It's just, dude. I mean, I don't know what. See, that's the thing. When you've been around the country and stuff as a trucker, you can literally, if you got to get away from the city lights, is where you get the good viewing. Because literally, when you're like in the middle of freaking Nowheresville, Arizona or somewhere, you can literally see the next city or town up ahead, because it's that you can see a big glowing light up ahead of you from the town or city.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I need to get off here. It's time for me to get to bed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
getting a little late too.
11:20 for you
Yeah.
guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night, Ricky.
Take care, Ricky.
Yeah.
What part of the world you from, Fitzpatrick?
I think
Oh,
he's
he just left. Yeah. Oh well, you take care, man. I'll let you go get some sleep. I know
Yeah.
it's like 11:30 over there almost.
Yeah, it's getting there. So I'll see you next time.
Take care, bud.
Night.
Bye.
Night, everybody out there. Looks like I lost everybody in the chat with between all my OBS crashes.
Yeah, there's only 2 of us here.
This was a bit of a test stream too, so. Oh well. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or the next day.
Later.
Night. Night, everybody.